So I had wanted to make a video in front of the camera about self-esteem and liking ourselves. And of course, since I've got a sprained shoulder, I'm not able to get to that. But it's very important to get to this video because of the time of year it is. People associate loneliness and unhappiness on the holidays and the anxiety that they feel because they don't like themselves and they have low self-esteem and they don't know where they belong. So I want to talk about the characteristics of low self-esteem and how to get past it and start liking yourself. And just an FYI for people, I did not like myself until I hit my 40s. And one of the reasons that I want people to like themselves when they're young is they don't need to suffer because we can talk about it. I didn't even tell people I didn't like myself. In fact, I didn't even know that was a problem that I had because I just went along in life not even figuring out how much I didn't like myself. And basically, I went to jobs and I had this outgoing personality and I always fit in somewhere, but I also had this hole in my soul because I was living the wrong life and I didn't know who I was. And it was really when I discovered that I didn't like myself that I found the answers how to like myself, and thus I figured that out and got to become even happier. And I married at 28, and although I had a very difficult and long marriage, it lasted almost 15 years with the person that I was with. We outgrew each other and we had different dreams. So while I was trying to make all of that work, what I realized was that if I had liked myself more and I had had a different self-image, my whole marriage would have turned out differently because I wouldn't have put up with a lot that I did, and I would have felt better and been able to stand up for myself more and also let go of the dream that wasn't working. I wouldn't have put so much effort into something that was ultimately doomed. So the sooner that we like ourselves, the faster we understand when something isn't working, we can get ourselves out of it faster because you like yourself and you want to give yourself a chance, and you don't stay in something feeling like you're the underdog and that you must do this. And in my old day, people really frowned upon divorce, so they really wanted you to try everything to work it out. But I was so positive, and I married someone very negative, and he was a beautiful person, but he didn't want to work on himself, and he didn't want to become happier. So I would go home to being happy, and he would be miserable and grouchy. And inside our home, he used the house as a venting place and a dumping ground to let out all of his anxiety. When I looked at a home as a place where I should feel safe and comfortable and be relaxed and enjoy and do something with someone I loved, and I didn't have all that pent up anger. So when I got home, I was in joy and he was in home. And after he didn't even like himself enough to figure out he was in the wrong job, and if he had changed his job, he would have been in a place where he wasn't so angry and he would have come home better. But these are the days when we didn't have information to figure all this stuff out. So passing on to people a faster way to like yourself is because we have more information and we can figure it out. And trust me, once I figured it out, now I've had the best 2 decades because I know who I am and I know how to live and what works and what doesn't. So what people need to do is get themselves to a place where they know who they are and they know how to walk away when something's not good. So the characteristics of low self-esteem are withdrawal, and inside your head you have anxiety and emotional turmoil, lack of social skills and self-confidence and or depression and sadness, less social conformity, eating disorders, inability to accept compliments, inability to see yourself squarely and be fair to yourself, accentuating the negative, exaggerated concern over what you imagine that people think. And that's a big one because you care more about what society thinks of you than what you feel and think of yourself. Self-neglect, treating yourself badly but not other people. So that would mean that you would go take care of others but self-sabotage on yourself and self-neglect. Worrying whether you have treated others badly, reluctance to take on challenges, reluctance to put yourself first anywhere, reluctance to trust your own opinion, expecting little out of life for yourself. So if you have any or all of the above, there's a way to fix and change it. And the first thing to do is understand the miracle that you're here. The next thing to do is to not measure yourself by popularity. I have told people for years, you are so lucky if you find one or two people that, quote, get you and understand you and love you, that's how you measure it. And you also need to stop saying, I am alone. Because even if you're on your own and you're single and you haven't found someone that you love, you have you. And you need to be your best audience and cheerleader. And you need to not be afraid to like yourself. So what I did to heal was I was started a list of what I liked about myself. And trust me, my list of what I didn't like about myself was longer than my list of what I liked about myself. And we all come with goodness and flaws, but my view of my flaws was larger than my view of my qualities. And once I had written down how little I thought of myself and how little I saw my good, uh, it was really shocking. So what I then did, because I was getting help for this, I was listening to experts, and I learned how to accentuate what I had that was good. So of course, I'm bubbly, I'm laughy, I love to laugh, I'm vivacious, I'm outwardly happy. I care about everybody. I want world peace. So all of these things that I liked about myself, I learned how to make them be a bigger part of how I saw myself than the negative. And we need to stop picking ourselves apart physically and emotionally and really learn to accept our flaws. And when you put them in a smaller place in your mind, you don't operate from a place of your flaws, you operate from a place of your qualities. And in society, we need to understand they wanted us to operate brokenly from our place of flaws rather than positively from our place of attributes and successes and good things about ourselves. And they don't want anyone to be able to say, I like myself. They want you to say, I hate myself, and here's my list of why. And you can turn it around, and I did, and everybody can do this even faster than I did. You want to put your negatives and be aware of them. Some people are moody, some people are judgmental, some people are dark, some people are grouchy. I mean, there's a million things that could be on your list of what you don't like about yourself. But you have to be honest about it and keep your list and make it smaller. And it was very quickly that I let my positive list start to, be my identity and my resume. And then I found my way where I belonged very, very quickly. And when I made all these videos about how to close the hole in your soul, and you usually have to go back to your childhood, to if you were the black sheep, if your parents were toxic, if there was a lot of unresolved things from there, because you can never fix anything until you get to the root of it. But once you get to the root of it and you heal and you forgive and you accept that your parents also had abuse in their lives and they probably repeated the pattern onto you, and you stop taking any of their abuse and their negative things that they said as though they were against you, because you have to realize if they told it to you, it was told to them. And therefore, it becomes less about you and more about them. And you learn how to let go and forgive them because they didn't even have information to heal. And if you have things like eating disorders and depression, some of these things you can work out yourself, and sometimes you need treatment. And I am not a doctor. I am here to help people self-heal and get to a place where they live their best life and don't feel so lonely and isolated, and certainly start to discover what their talents are and where they belong. And in society, there's so much good that you can obtain from the internet to fit you where you belong. So, for example, if you're feeling all alone in the country and you have some kind of a talent like art or computers or whatever, you need to build up your own image of yourself and say, hey, I'm really good at this, or I'm really good at dancing or basketball or whatever. And very carefully navigate to YouTube channels or a group where you don't disclose and don't dump your story and don't tell everybody all your details, because this is all being tracked and traced. But to use social media to just feel like you belong somewhere is not wrong. What is wrong is when they're spying on us and taking all this data that is about us, and you put it out there for people, and then you expect strangers to heal you. What you need to do is know who you are and go where you belong and keep your story private. And just try to find people that you can function with where you learn to feel better and accepted. And then if you all like old-fashioned cars, be on social media and just talk about cars. Don't get to know anybody. Don't direct message people. Don't try to dump your pain on strangers. The problem with people is they have no boundaries when they're in pain, and what they do is they dump their whole story and expect to be toxic and just and have everybody know all their problems. And they think if they don't put their picture up or they use a fake name, they're not really saying who they are, when an IP address tells everyone exactly who you are. And your job is to feel better and not be burdening other people, expecting people to heal you. Lazy people don't like to do the work to heal and feel better. They like to complain and put out negative things in the environment. And that's why a lot of social media is negative and dark. And they don't like to put out good things, because darkness is really, it feels bigger than good, because so many people abuse even the right to be on social media and be somewhere where they can contribute and help, because they're so busy expecting everyone else to heal them. You must heal yourself and do the work, and then go be a positive influence where you belong. And you need to learn to accept compliments when you get to a place where you belong, because when you feel better about yourself, you are going to be in an environment where if you're good at computers and someone else is good at computers and you both figure out something, you need to be able to have someone say, oh my God, I didn't see that. Wow, that's great. And then you're right where you belong, because someone's going to say to you, thanks for making me understand that. Or if you're in a place where someone's good at sports and you also are good, they're going to want to do a sport with you. But it doesn't mean when you have a relationship with someone that you have something in common with, that the rest of you is going to be part of another part of their lives. And we sometimes look for whole relationships with people that are only supposed to be someone we have something in common with. And the mistake that I used to make, and we didn't know better, was that if you have something in common with somebody, that doesn't mean they align with everything else that you are or that you think. So you need to learn how to limit it and accept that relationship for what it is, and not think that every person you meet is going to be a bigger part of your life. You need to learn to like yourself and learn to be with yourself and be a bonus in a group because you have found out where you belong. And I pray for everybody that they do this far younger than when I did it, because we didn't even know back in my day that there was an option to feel better than we did, because people were just starting to discover that we had a right to feel better and feel good and be happy. And I can say that even though I had amazing times in my marriage, and part of it was really love based and very good, I would have been happier if I had made decisions and known myself better, because I would have probably done things a lot differently even within my marriage. And to be successful, you have to like yourself. You have to know who you are, and you know how to be fair to yourself instead of putting yourself at the bottom and putting everyone else first, so that you continue feeling awful and invisible and unheard. And in a healthy relationship, there's room for both people to be heard. Thank you.